I remember that.
So, David then didn't talk much about his child because he didn't have any.
No, he never did talk too much about.
So Grandma was from higher means, but
never talked about anything.
was like someone who fell on bad times. Her
I think he had.
part of the family just kind of ended up in rough shape, but she had come from better means. That's
Right.
basically what you're saying.
So her father, what did her father do? Sarah's father do?
Sarah's father, she didn't say what her father, she doesn't know what her father did.
Wasn't what grandfather a shechet or a rabbi or a shechet or something like that?
There was someone like that in the background.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, it was a relative.
No, not.
What,
We're all rabbis.
what about Sarah's memories of her childhood? Did she have any stories?
Yeah, she used to talk.
Hard.
She
It
used
was
to.
hard.
She used to tell stories about dancing. She loved to dance.
She was a dancing teacher, actually, like
Folk dancing. She taught
her.
folk
No,
dancing.
she wasn't.
When, wait a minute.
She said she was
told me
a
when there was
teacher?
a wedding going on somewhere,
She danced,
They
yeah.
would call her, and
But
she would lead the dancing.
did she
She
get
would
paid
teach
for it?
everybody. That I don't know, but she would lead everybody in the dancing, teach them the dancing. And my father happened to do the kazachka.
Yeah, he was a
Kazachka.
wonderful.
He was a wonderful Russian dancer.
Yeah, he used to get
Yeah,
up on
you
his
should
knees
see
and
him.
throw his
Yeah.
legs out the window.
Well, you know, we've got this picture of Grandpa in traditional,
Yes,
looks like Ukrainian or Russian,
Yeah.
Yes,
like a dance troupe,
Yeah.
like he was
He
in
was
a
able
dance
to do
troupe.
all those steps that you see on television where you
But I wonder if
leap
he
up
was-
and touch your toes.
I wonder if he was in a dance
spin
troupe
and
of some
do that
kind.
thing where you
No,
jump
I
over
don't
your
think so.
foot.
Street dancing like today's
She
time.
never
Right.
talked
And the
about it.
photograph was American.
Like the
Oh,
back.
was?
I don't think it was taken in Russia. I think
I'll
it was
be
taken
darned.
inside. So I often wondered. I'm pretty sure
Well-
it was American. I wonder if he was in some kind of folk dance group.
Because
in New York.
every wedding or every bar mitzvah we ever went to, when I was a kid, I remember he used to get up in the middle of the floor
That's
and do
right,
these
yeah.
Russian dances,
With
and everybody
me.
applauded.
With me. The two of us. He taught me how to do all those steps. And the two of us.
And
And they would make a big ring
Helen
around
was
the
a
two of
dancing
us.
teacher. That's what my mother would do. She was a talk dancing, special for parties.
Shuffle, hop, jig, select, step.
I remember a story about Grandma described something about there was a pogrom or something in her village, and,
yes,
and
yes.
the soldiers came and she got hit with a sword, or she
Right.
got
I'll
hit
tell you that story. I know that
with
story
a
the
saber.
best. They
Well,
were
isn't
we
that-
all went to the center of the village because they were releasing the Jewish prisoners, and all of the families of the prisoners came to greet them as they were releasing them, and they weren't allowed to be in the square. So the Cossacks on their horses came and started to chase all of the civilians that were there, and they all started to run, and Grandma, my mother, ran for a fence, and as she was trying to crawl and get away over the fence, a Cossack came along on his horse and he smacked her across the back, and she passed out, and she fell on the other side of the fence. She never forgot
Well,
that.
these were prisoners of what? What were they prisoners?
They were
Jewish
prisoners.
prisoners.
They were just in the way when they were coming through.
That's not the way I heard it.
But what were they were
The
prisoners?
way I heard the story was that when Pa sent for Ma to come to America, she started to make arrangements to leave Russia, and on one of her journeys, she was going down the small village street, and all of a sudden a horde of Cossacks came down the street with their thundering hooves, and in order to get out of their way, she went up to one of the little village houses to get out of their way, but she couldn't quite make it, and one of the Cossacks just smacked her across the back. So, I'm sorry. That's the version I got.
It's okay. You're entitled.
Well, it's all the same as the other one. It's just
Yeah, it's the
slightly
same
different.
idea.
Yeah, well, I didn't get the prisoner story, so I didn't get that one.
Did David or Sarah talk about being any prejudice against them when they were in Russia? Any direct?
Yes.
Any
He said that
anti-Semitism?
the Russian
My
civilians were
father
anti-Semitic.
used to talk, not my mother, but I remember my father telling me about that. He learned Russian because if you spoke Yiddish in front of the Russian citizens, of course you were, beaten up. So there was a lot of discrimination.
Did they speak Russian when you were growing up?
No, they spoke Jewish.
Yiddish.
What's up, Paskorniak?
I don't know.
Is that-
Grandpa
I
could
had
speak
this
Russian, and he taught me a couple of words like
Das Vidanya.
and
What's that?
spasiba.
It says goodbye.
Spasiba means please or thank you.
I didn't get that.
No, so he did know. He did speak
Yeah,
Russian.
he
I
understood.
think
He
they must have
he
both.
understood it very well. He just
Both of
didn't
them
speak-
must have been
Yeah.
able to speak
They
Russian
both understood it.
fluently because living in Russia, they probably knew both languages well.
So when did they speak English? When did they learn how to speak English?
Who said they learned?
Well, when
I remember my father went to school, when he
Night
came
school.
to high school, and learned how to read and write English
Yeah.
language.
they picked
My-
up the language.
I went to
from
school
work.
with my mother. This is a funny story. I went to school with my mother. Of course, it's a little bit risque. I went to school with my mother, and I was in class
Make
with
sure
her.
it's clean now.
You were in school
And then
with
the teacher wrote words on the board, and evidently there were several. The class had already attended to this class several times. This was the first time for my mother, and he wrote the word "fox" on the board. And then and he said, "What's this word?" And somebody said "fox." She started to laugh so hard. She never went back to school after that.
She never did.
And then we
Was
lived,
that her introduction to English?
and then we went to we lived on a street. It was like Hancock Street, and she'd call it Cockeye Street.
She had the most fabulous sense of humor.
Yeah.
She was the cutest lady.
That's a good. I would like to talk about their personalities.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Talk
My
about-
mother
She
had
was
a laugh
adorable.
where when
She
she
was
laughed,
adorable.
everybody had to laugh. Very infectious laugh.
She saw humor in everything.
Yeah.
And she was like a little girl.
Yeah, she was.
And
Never
she was
grew
one
up.
of the girls.
Never
She
grew
was
up.
never like the mother. She was just one of the girls. She was the fifth daughter.
Yeah, and I hear my father say, "Maybe she still thinks she's 16 years old." You know.
Yeah.
She still thinks she's 16.
And remember when she would go into the hospital and she'd say to the doctor, "Don't put me with anybody too sick. Just a little bit sick."
Was she ever skinny?
Never, never. I never saw
Not
her.
skinny,
You know,
but
she-
she was thinner.
But no, the
When she
reason
got
she
older.
got heavy, she said, because when she was in Russia, she was always hungry, starving. There was never enough to eat. She came to America. There was so much food available, so she really took it all in.
Yeah, especially when
She
she was
did.
pregnant. She ate and ate and ate. She ate. She said, "I bought the best nuts, the best nuts, and I ate all the nuts, and I ate all the best foods." She was going to give that baby everything the best.
Oh, she
And
believed
she-
in that. When she
she
was
believed,
pregnant,
yeah.
she ate the best of food so that the babies would be the healthiest.
That's why the
She
first
was
baby.
much too
Very maternal.
much too overly concerned about our health.
Yeah.
And we had a family that lived next door, and the mother was a nurse, an ex-nurse. And the least little sniffle, the least little problem we had, she would wake this woman up in the middle of the night to come over and look at us.
Yeah.
And
Not only that, but I remember mornings we would march down the stairs on our way to breakfast. She'd have us all
Oh
lined
my
up,
God.
and
That
she
was.
would listen to our hearts to see if our hearts were beating properly.
Yes, and you know what else she would
She
do?
knew how to
Every
listen.
night she'd go upstairs and listen to see if we were all breathing. And then the next day she'd say, "Well, Al breathed the nicest." So the next night I decided I was going to be the one. So I held my breath the whole time. And she kept listening and listening, and I held my breath. I said, "Oh my God, when is she going away?" And I held my breath the whole time.
Did she call?
And then
Did she call 9/11?
But you know what's interesting is that's something that they do in the old world. Like
Guess
in the
what?
Far
They
East
did?
and everything.
They
do.
listen to their
Guess
breathing.
what?
Yeah,
It
they
made
do
me.
all that stuff.
You know what it made me? It made me
Neurotic.
No, not only neurotic. I had a phobia about not being able to breathe.
How old were you when she was pregnant?
We were like 9, 10, 11.
Oh my, you were a big kid.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you can imagine what she did when we were younger. When I don't remember.
Did they have any out of whatever they did, you know, to survive or whatever? Was there any what we call now hobbies or things like this? What were their interests?
She
Poker?
used to. No, my mother used to. My mother used to make all our clothes.
Yeah.
I remember the sewing machine.
Sewing machine,
Yeah.
and she also knitted. She knitted beautiful sweaters for herself. She knitted for me. She once made me a dress. And the thing is that I liked about the dress was she embroidered a bird's nest on on the top of this dress, and I was so embarrassed to go to school with having a bird's nest with birds in it.
Like a picture? You mean like a little,
Yeah, a
little
picture of
illustration?
three birds in
Embroidered,
a
you
nest. Embroidered? Yeah, embroidered. She was a very good seamstress. I mean, she was trained for that. I mean, that's what she did when she was in Europe when she was working.
Where did Eve come from? How did you get your name Eve?
Well, actually,
Adam's
it was
rib.
Rivka, my mother's, and it was supposed to be Rebecca. And somehow somebody told her Rebecca was a black woman's
No,
name.
that's Diana. That's my name.
Both of us.
No, my name is really Diana, but she changed it because my aunt told her it was a Shretz's name. So she changed it to Dorothy.
Changed it?
Yeah, she
Changed
called me Dorothy instead of Diana.
What did your birth certificate say?
Diana.
Your birth
My
certificate says
birth certificate is Diana.
your name is Diana.
My name is
And you know what mine says? You got it from my name is Eva Ruda, R-U-D-A is on my birth certificate.
R-U-D-A.
R-U-D-A.
That's interesting.
Instead
It's
of
still
Rude.
on your birth certificate?
Yeah.
Can I tell you something about my father? He used to love animals and birds.
Yeah.
I remember watching him.
Pigeons. Oh,
Pigeons.
Pigeons?
He would put some food in his mouth, bread or something,
I remember.
and the birds would come and eat it out from his mouth. And he loved those animals.
yes.
He
He
would
did.
bring home stray dogs
Straight
to the
cats.
house, stray cats, stray dogs. He loved animals, and he was real good to them too.
Wow, that's interesting.
One day a bird came to get the food and bit his lip, and I think that's when he stopped.
Bit his tongue. He's got a black tongue from it.
Yes, he
Got a
did.
black
Tongue
mark,
mark.
and I don't think that ever left.
No, it stayed with him.
Gee.
What else about David? What other memories do you have?
He was a speech maker.
You know what? I remember
He loved
as a
to
little
get up
girl-
and make speeches.
as a little girl. Yeah, that's one thing too, Betty. But
And
you know,
and I would go to the Pinsker meetings with Grandma, with my mother, and she'd be sitting in the audience with me, and they would call up my grandpa and my father to make a speech, and he'd always have a wonderful speech, and everybody would applaud him. And as soon as he was getting close to the end of the speech, she would grab me. She'd, "Come on, Helen! Come on, Helen!" And she would make me run out of the room because she was afraid they would call her. She had stage fright.
oh,
Remember?
I don't
You
remember.
never
that.
had
I don't remember.
No, but what I do remember is when I was a little girl. One day he came
That's
home,
where I got it.
and all of a
Stage
sudden
fright.
he takes a harmonica out of his
Just
pocket,
occurred to me.
and he starts to play the harmonica,
Oh,
and he
that's
played a beautiful tune. And I was never so amazed in all my life the
Huh?
fact that
Yeah, I remember
that he
that.
brought a harmonica home and he was able to play it. He also was able to pick up tunes on the piano without ever taking
You're
them.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah, he did that.
Did you have a piano in your house when you were growing
No,
up?
no, but wherever we went who had a piano, he
Later.
was able to play it.
Where did you learn how to play the piano?
Just natural artistic talent. That's where Helen got
Well,
me.
I had heard that he was in the choir in the synagogue
I don't remember
when he
that.
was a little boy.
I
Really?
got all these artistic talents I didn't know he had.
Yeah.
Did he sing?
He played the piano.
No.
Did he
No, he
sing?
never sang.
My mother used to sing.
I don't remember.
My
him
mother
singing.
used to sing, and I used to hear her. I was upstairs, and she'd be singing, working in the kitchen and singing.
What kind of songs did
There
you
is
sing?
gekommen a Cousine,
Yiddish.
schenkt die goldene Siege wenn the green. That's all
Did
I
she
remember.
make you girls eat the same way she made her grandchildren eat when they were?
Yes.
Oh.
Betty and
It was
I
like,
had to drink
eat,
2
eat,
glasses of
eat,
milk
Eat. Everything
at
was there
every
was eat,
sitting,
eat.
Yes.
and I didn't know I had lactose intolerance.
I used to complain about
And
that.
she and I used to get so nauseous that we would have to run around the block.
Yeah, she'd make me drink.
Remember
That was laxativity.
No, my
Laxative.
mother called Betty the green Java because her complexion was pale and green. That's why she forced her to drink the cream from the top of the bottle of the milk.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're the one.
Called
huh,
her
Betty?
what?
She's the one that got the
The
cream.
top of the, the cream.
I
on
was
top.
the sickly one. Huh?
Green Java, I was called.